Hey guys, I'm Ash.
And I'm Pete.
We're two friends with a combo of 7 kids ranging from toddlers to 20s and 2 crazy husbands.
Our paths were not easy. With childhood battle wounds, divorce, second marriages and all, we somehow found each other. And together we talk real life, laugh, cry, and figure out how to survive the day.
Music is by Dustbowl Champion. To hear Dustbowl Champion's newest hits, search Dustbowl Champion on Spotify. Hey guys, it's Ash and P.
Hey.
And happy Swap Day!
Woo woo.
Yes,
We're back.
We are back, and Priscilla is still dealing with shit.
I know.
We did our video midweek, and well, it was
Instagram.
Obviously the day of our episode coming out, but we went over the loads,
The crazy week
that Priscilla has been dealing with.
The shit loads.
Yeah, literal loads. So horrible. But it does not appear to have stopped.
No. So, and I mean, Danny is going to be 2 this year, or in July, she'll be 2. And, you know, I remember having a little bit of the same issue with Gigi where she would play with her poop. Like she would get her hands in her diaper.
I feel like it was a few times only.
But sometimes, and this is where when we talk about this today, it's like sometimes I think like we forget things.
We do.
You know?
Just like women, their brains forget the bad stuff that happened during labor and birth.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you wouldn't have kids.
Right.
And yeah, your brain does forget. Plus, I mean, so much happens.
Yeah.
And our brains can only hold so much.
So I feel like maybe I did go through this with Gigi and I just like don't remember how often.
But I don't remember
know.
It being as often. And I feel like I would recall that easier than you because I haven't had a new baby in between.
Yeah.
And I don't remember it. I don't remember you having this many issues.
Well, and it's kind of interesting because I think she's actually, I mean, she's been going potty on the toilet for a while, but I don't stick with it because I'm not trying to rush it. I rushed it with Gigi and
it ended up taking longer.
It ended up taking a little bit longer and it's just so stressful. And I'm going to be honest. It's a lot of work to take kids to a public bathroom.
Ew, yeah.
And
like during Gigi's soccer game, it was like, oh gosh, don't you just wish she had like a diaper on instead?
Yeah.
Instead, you're running around the stinking field finding a bathroom.
Or thinking about traveling with the kids. And it's like,
yes, you have to pull over.
Yeah, pull over for 2 kids, you know, they're little. And so it's like, I'm totally just being a little lazy right now. And don't want to potty train her yet fully.
She is very young, though. I know July is just around the corner, but she's still under 2. But
I think that this is like, I do remember feeling like with Georgia, it was like, this is part of that. Like, it's like they're uncomfortable. And so she sticks her hands in there. And
you think that's what it is?
I think so, because she knows poop is gross.
Oh, she does?
Yes, because when she pooped in the actual toilet, she was like, ew. So she knows it's gross.
Yeah. But she seemed so pleased with herself when you told me. Like you said, I didn't catch it. I didn't get it at first when you said she just got thrown in the shower.
Oh, yeah.
And I didn't get it. But then I realized.
Well, that's my punishment right now. She hates the shower. She hates the shower.
Maybe she'll stop playing with her
poop. She cries. And so anytime she touches her poop, I'm like, okay, you have to take a shower. And she wants a bath.
Yeah.
No, baths are fun.
No.
We're not doing a bath.
Right.
Plus, that's gross. Like,
you don't need to sit in it. And I don't want it sitting in my.
No, I don't want it.
In the bathtub.
No. So I throw you in the shower. Let's go now. And she hates it. But I'm hoping that
but she looked so content with herself. I told her that she needed to stop touching her poop, and she said no and like smiled.
Well, she says no to
she says no to everything, but I'm like, you just seem so content. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. She's a stubborn one.
Yeah, she is.
She's stubborn.
She really is. I mean, Gigi is headstrong. She really is, but I think that Danny is by far the toughest kind of all around. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
She'll be the most fun.
Oh my gosh. Okay. That was super loud. What
is
in
that
the world?
A bus or what?
I have no idea. Oh my gosh.
The weather's really nice. The windows are open, and apparently Pete does not live on a street where there's a lot of noise.
No.
So that's weird.
No, that's so bizarre. Sorry guys.
It must be like a moving truck because it's beeping while it backs up.
I wonder if maybe someone's getting something like delivered, like work done for their house or something. You know, everybody's doing like
renos
and like landscaping and all kinds of stuff to their house right now.
Yes.
I feel like COVID made everyone want to like work on their homes.
It did. You know, my old position, I located electric and gas services. So whenever anyone was digging, I had to go out and mark them. And that was during COVID. That was our biggest, not our biggest, but that was the most common ticket was, because homeowners wanted their home. Yeah. They might as well do something. Right. So they were always working on their houses.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Okay, so this week I dealt with a lot of poop stories. I have a lot of poop stories. But you did not have to deal with poop, but you got to see your daughter.
I did. We mentioned it a little bit, but it was so nice. So she was supposed to come home on Friday. Friday night she was supposed to be here before 9, and then she was in Texas. And she had called and told Jace how there was like just one problem after another. She was sitting on the runway for hours. For hours she was sitting there. Poor thing.
Yeah, because you guys were supposed to come here we were
gonna bring her here to visit with you guys after she landed. But her flight ended up getting delayed. Then she was going to be here at like 11 something. So we're like, well, we'll just have dinner with just you guys. And, you know, when she calls, we'll go pick her up. And then before we even got over here, she called and she was like, they're making us get off the plane. I'm like, oh my gosh, your flight's getting canceled.
Which is terrible because how long has she been gone now?
So she's been gone since August.
So, and you think about like, she's been gone since August. She finally gets to come home.
Yeah.
And
then like all that
time.
Yeah.
And have all that. I mean, that is so exhausting. So awful.
Yeah. Poor thing. For her, it's like she was just tired and fed up. For us, I think for myself, I ended up getting more time with her, I think. Because we originally were going to take her to her mom's on Saturday. So we would have had her Friday night, and then like late Saturday afternoon, we would have taken her to her mom's. Mm-hmm. And sorry about that truck or whatever it is.
Yeah,
whoa. I don't know. But then since she came in late, we were like, okay, well, what if instead of taking you home on Saturday, what if I take you home on Sunday, because Jace had to fly out Sunday morning. So I'm like, what if I drive you home and you just stay all Saturday? So we got all Saturday with her once she landed, which was nice. And then I got to spend obviously Sunday driving with her, which was really nice because we got to talk with like the time difference for her and me working 10 hours a day. Our schedules don't really line up very well. So when she first left, I would get to talk to her more because I drove a lot. Mm-hmm. And so I was free and able to talk on the phone, but now I'm not. And so like the time difference in my schedule just sucks. So it was really nice because we got to talk a lot, 2 hours we got to talk. And then we went and had lunch with her and Kyla and her mom and her mom's baby. So that was nice. And then she got to hang out with the other side of the family for a few days. Kyla had pretty much the entire time off, actually.
That's great.
Yeah,
That's
she had the
great
entire time off. So yeah, they got to be together. And then Kyla took her to the airport yesterday morning. And then she calls Jace when Jason, so she flew out early. Like I think she had to be at the airport by 6 a.m. And then Jason is landing. He got delayed for his situation. He had a rough week, but that was more of his own fault that he got delayed. But then she told him she had been sitting on the runway for 2 hours.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I bet she would. I haven't talked to her yet, but I bet she was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be stuck again.
Yeah.
Because that was the same thing that happened. But
yeah.
Nope. But she got home, so that's good.
Well, that's good. And I can't wait when we progress this and talk about I can go as far as talking about teens, but you get to also kind of talk about raising young adults.
Yeah.
And those great times, because you get to be a little bit more friends with your kids at that age.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Your relationship really does change.
Yeah.
When they really start, obviously it's still
you're still the parent.
Yeah, you still love them. You still want these things for them, and you still desire for different things to happen in their lives.
Role.
But I'm not attempting to help you make a decision anymore.
Right.
Because these decisions are now yours.
Yeah.
So,
Right. Well, I want to talk today about what we tried to talk about last week.
Yes, we're going to stay on topic.
Yeah.
It will happen
last
this week.
It really kind of took off on its own, but I want to talk about babies.
Yes, bringing babies into the mix.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's a lot in so many different ways. It's not, I feel like, and I'm sure at any age it's kind of this way, but I feel like you don't realize how much it is really going to be. Like you think, like if you were to talk to someone and be like, oh, having a baby, they just think like, oh yeah, it's this and that. And they don't realize like the cost that goes into it.
Right.
Everything changes everything. And I'm sure that's at any age, even if, say you had your first one in your 30s, say you were 35 with your first one, you would probably still assume that you knew, and then things obviously are different once you have them. But I think especially when you're younger, you are a little more naive to it.
Yes.
I could be wrong, but
no, I absolutely agree. And I think that sometimes like when we are younger and you said that you told Jason, like, I want to have a baby.
Yeah,
like I
was
want
ready
to get pregnant. You were ready for that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that when you're in the moment of the love, right? There's so much love. It's just coming out of your pores, right? You just can't help it. You love each other.
You can't help but feel like you need something else.
You can't keep your hands off each other.
I love you so much. I need to share something else with you.
Yeah. Life is good. We're on this track. Whatever it is,
Things
whether
are
you're
so good,
whether you're not married yet or you just got married and you're like just all in this love bubble, right?
Yes.
And it's like, what's the next step? Well, the next
Obviously,
step is we need to have a baby, right?
Yes.
I want to be pregnant, and I want to,
have all share something that big with you.
And you're thinking in your head, everyone says like, oh, it's it's hard and it's this and that, and you're like, it's okay. I can handle that.
How hard is it? Okay,
Got
a little bit of no sleeping.
Yeah. I can do it. I understand.
My sister did it at 14, so of course I can handle it,
yeah,
right?
Exactly. Yep.
I mean, she didn't tell me how hard it was,
right.
but
right.
Yeah.
But it really does, and we'll start with, I gotta say, like the pregnancy and the hormones.
Horrific. I'm surprised Jason didn't leave me while I was pregnant, to be honest.
Were you super hormonal?
Well, I'm crazy as it is.
You're kind of emotional.
Emotional and crazy. Like if you had to live with me, you would probably be, the guys mess around like Jason or Anthony. I just don't know how we do it. But in real life, like, I really feel like that about Jason. Like, I do not know how he really does it because I am a crazy person. I'm a lot, and so adding that in, it was like there was a time when I was pregnant that I was so annoyed with him that like I was going to sleep and he was out playing his video games, which is annoying anyway. But I was pregnant. I locked that mofo out of our room. I made him sleep on the couch. Why are you that crazy? Is it really, how is it impacting me? It's not. I was just so annoyed with him about it.
Yeah.
Just crazy stuff like that. Like, psycho. I just look back and I'm like, oh my gosh, I was so young and ridiculous. Like, I would never, now I'd be like, yeah, do whatever you want. I'm down to have my bed to myself.
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting. Like, I look back and think having Tristan so young and then not having the others until like mid 30s, it's like, I'm so different, but it's like, it's good and it's bad. Like, I feel like mentally I was more aware of what I was getting myself into,
Mm-hmm.
but physically my body was older.
Yeah.
And there is something to that. Like, people say, there's kind of like this, like, oh, you're getting kind of older. And it's like,
yeah.
And it's harder on your body. And even though I'm way more active, than I was,
like,
when
you're
I was
very much in shape.
When I was in my 20s, I was not active.
Yeah.
Like I shared, I didn't go to high school, so I did PE out of a book.
Right.
Like, that was, I went to my senior year. I went to an actual in-person high school, but I did independent studies. So I didn't have that. And I didn't have sports. I didn't do anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was not active. And you would almost think that it would have been harder on my body, but I don't know. I think
just being young, your body just, like they always say, if you have a surgery when you're younger, it's so much easier on you.
I know. I had my wisdom teeth pulled this last year, and the guy was like, how old are you? He's like, this is going to be really difficult because, like, basically he was saying, because I'm old.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I'm not old.
You were a champ, though.
Yeah.
You did good.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's you. Like, I plan on, for a few years now, I've actually been planning on getting my tonsils out, and I haven't done it. And part of the reason I'm scared is because I'm older.
Mm-hmm.
And I just, I'm thinking now, and I'm like, you need to do this before you hit 40. Like, you need to do this before you're your age, really.
Yeah.
But I just haven't done it. And I know it is going to be more difficult than had I done it in my 20s.
Yeah.
So
it is pregnancy different. Does a lot.
It's not just a tonsil or a wisdom teeth. It's your whole body.
Yeah.
Mentally and physically.
Yeah. And I think, like, one of the things that I noticed that was interesting about me being pregnant with the girls is because I was so active and I had finally gotten, like, we started exercising and being like healthy living, basically.
Mm-hmm.
When we met. So when we started like really dating each other.
Yeah.
So 10 years ago, we started this, right? And I never went back. Like I just always stayed with it. Exercising, eating fairly good, whatever,
mm-hmm.
Eating good, whatever. And it was hard for me to think about, it was hard for me to think about having kids and starting all the way over again. too, it's like, dang, I'm going to jack up my body. You know what I mean?
Like, I can only imagine.
So hard.
Yeah, I didn't have that, but I could imagine that would be hard.
And 3, you know, when you start to plan to have your family in your late 30s or your mid to late 30s, it's like you think about, you're so set in your ways already.
Yeah. Yeah.
And throwing a baby in there is hard.
Right.
And so your body, I just think like as you get older, it's like, it's just kind of harder on your body emotionally. I think that's why a lot of women struggle even with like postpartum and stuff, because, and not to say that it doesn't happen in 20-year-old girls, because it does, but it's just that you are so on this pattern and this routine, and you don't have that once you even start just have like pregnancy, you don't, it starts to kind of not ruin, that's wrong. Ruin your routine. But,
you guys ruined everything.
But it starts to change your routine.
It does.
It starts to make you're no longer the shot caller.
No. No, you're not.
You know,
I remember when we had Hayden, so I had a C-section. For my first doctor's visit a week later, because you have to go much quicker after you have a C-section. So my appointment, my grandma came and she picked me up. And so we're like trying to get ready. And maybe it wasn't that. No, when we did that, that was the point when I realized everything has really changed, because it's no more, okay, I have to go jump in the car.
Right.
It's, you've got to have the diaper bag ready. You've got to have yourself ready. You have to have the baby ready. It's like and then you need to make sure you get the baby in the car, get the diaper bag in the car. You know, it's no longer just, everything is so much easier when you don't have to worry about that. Mm-hmm. And that was when I first realized, like, oh my gosh, I can't just jump in the car and leave anymore.
And hopefully you have a partner that can be supportive in however that may look different for every person, but hopefully they're supportive, whether it's that they pack the diaper bag for you while you get yourself ready, or that they're just holding the baby while you whatever.
Yeah.
But I think that's where it starts, right? Like the relationship starts to change, because now you have this other person that needs the both of you.
Right.
And one of you can't just, I mean, you can do it all, but oh my gosh,
that's
a lot. You shouldn't.
Yes.
And if you are in a healthy and supportive relationship, then you have that, and that's great. And you have to try to figure out how to work through those.
Right.
And I mean, I just think like, I look back and think, and I mean, even now it happens, but it's like those little things that would annoy you about your partner, they like grow like 75 times for some reason when you add a kid.
Yeah.
Like,
it might be like sleep deprivation, or just that there's an additional person annoying you with other stuff. I don't know what it is, but it does.
Yeah.
Like, so annoying.
Yeah. So we're going to take a break. When we come back, I want to talk about still about babies, but like the nursing aspect and the sleep deprivation, like you were talking about. It's like those moments and how, gosh, it's survival, right?
Yeah.
You do what you have to survive. So
we'll be right back.
Hey guys, we're back.
We are. And we are here to talk about nursing. Yes.
So fun.
So fun. So much.
It's so much.
It is. It's a lot.
Well, and I just feel like I gotta say, I mean, and it starts even with pregnancy it starts with everything before that even. But when you're talking about babies and being a mom and all of these things, there are so many pressures.
Yeah.
That I feel like we put on ourselves, that I feel like society puts on us.
Yeah, we have to live up to all these things.
And I mean, I even think that sometimes just sharing our experiences sometimes puts the pressure on the person listening to think like, oh, well, they did that.
Yeah, so I need to do it that way.
I need to do that. Or since they did that, I should be able to do that.
Right.
And that's not the case.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah, everybody is so different. Things are so different. My brother, he really, really wanted his wife to nurse. And before she was even pregnant, she was like, I just don't know how I feel. You know, she knows, of course, why people nurse. She just said, I don't know that I'm going to be comfortable doing it. She didn't know, like, personally, is it going to be awkward? Like, am I going to feel comfortable?
Yeah.
Which she was fine doing it, but then she ended up having, what's that called?
Mastitis.
Yes.
Oh,
she had that.
I had that with Gigi.
It was really bad.
Really bad.
So she ended up, she stopped nursing.
Yeah.
After that. And, you know, my brother was completely okay with it, but going into it, he thought like, oh, and I don't know if it's because I nursed both of the boys and that's what, you know, he saw. Right. Not necessarily really saw, because he was so uncomfortable around me. Like, if I was nursing even covered up, he did not want to be near me. But I don't know if it was that or just he felt like that is what is supposed to, you know, like society tells us that's what's supposed to happen.
So if we even go back to, let's say, well, first of all, I feel like there's even this pressure on having kids, right?
Yeah.
Like of having kids. And some people choose not to have kids.
That's just not what they want.
Yeah. It's not what they want. Some people, you know, struggle. And that's another podcast that we really need to get into. But I feel like there's this pressure of getting pregnant. Mm-hmm. And sometimes like it's right after marriage even. And I remember, feeling that like everyone feeling like you and Tony are going to have kids. Right. And it's like, well, what if we decided that Tristan was the only kid we were going to have?
Yeah.
You know, we may, but there's that pressure. And then there's the pressure once you're pregnant that, you know, you can't eat this and you can't do this and you can't.
I was a horrible pregnant person.
Oh my gosh. And I mean, now there's so many more things, and some of it, don't get me wrong, I understand, like, obviously as we evolve as people and as medicine evolves and all of these things, you learn like, hey, maybe that wasn't safe. Hey, maybe it's not safe to smoke your cigarette
or drink when you're pregnant.
Like they used to do back in the day.
It was totally fine. Right. But now they don't.
Right. But at the same time, like if you eat a hot dog when you're pregnant, you're probably going to be okay.
Are you the worst mom ever?
You're not the worst mom ever.
I worked right across from Hot Dog on a Stick when I was pregnant with Hayden. And I'm going to tell you, I ate hot dogs. But back then, well, I don't know if it was a thing. My doctor never told me. And I was not a big researcher.
It wasn't a thing back when we had ours, like the first ones. You know, for me, it was when Tristan, it was not a thing. When I got pregnant with Gigi, it was like a thing. Like, you're not supposed to eat any of this, and you're not supposed to eat any, you know, the lunch meat kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And I did pretty good about not staying away from those things. But I'll tell you that, and maybe this is why my kids are crazy, but I had caffeine every single day. I had coffee every single day. I was not going to be able to survive without my cup of coffee. You know? And more so even I cut back when I was pregnant, obviously, but I still drank it. But more so even when I was pregnant with Danny. And maybe that's why she's crazy. I don't know.
I think it's just her, but
I had a little one, and you know, and then Tristan, and
you're pregnant.
I was pregnant. Yeah. I'm going to have coffee it's going to happen. And so there's all those pressures, that we put on ourselves and that we put out there. And it's like, oh, my doctor told me not to do this and do that and da. And then, we start to put all of that, and that builds. And then that builds on, then you come into nursing. And then there's that pressure. And I was blessed enough to be able to nurse with all three of my girls. I didn't nurse as long with Danny, I feel. You know.
You went back to work sooner with Danny.
I did.
Which causes, it's harder once you go back
harder.
To work.
I mean, I was so crazy with Gigi, and I know you remember, because I remember you thinking I was nuts, but
not nuts. I just was not as good of a mom as you.
No, but see, that's what I mean. It wasn't even that. I was like, I had, and it's fine. It was the way I wanted to do it. I wanted to have a big milk production for Gigi. Like, I wanted to produce so much milk for her, right? And so I would get up every 2 hours, whether she slept through the night or not. And if she was sleeping, I would still wake up and I'd get up and I'd pump.
Yeah.
Every 2.5 hours, I was up pumping. And I mean, it wasn't like, for me, it was okay, because I only really, Tristan was 12. She slept through the night.
Yeah.
That wasn't an issue. And Gigi was a really good night sleeper. So while she slept, I would get up and I would nurse. And then I went from like every 2.5 hours or so of pumping to like maybe only getting up twice in the middle of the night. And then pumping, and then,
I never pumped in the middle of the night with either of the boys. With Hayden, I had a massive amount of milk. I produced so much. And like, even after I stopped nursing him, it carried him a couple of months. But I never nursed at night. I am far too lazy to do that. I love my sleep. It was enough of a like interruption of my sleep to wake up and nurse them. I was not going to get up and go do something aside from that.
Well, and see, I was really good about it with Gigi, and it was really important to me. And I think it was almost, I mean, for me with having Gigi, it was kind of like having your first all over again, because it had been so long. And I'm glad I was able to do it. And she never had to have any formula. She went straight into regular milk. By the time I stopped nursing, I had such a big, supply. I had baked. Yeah. I had a deep freezer full of milk that's what I went through. And it was awesome. But with Danny, it was different. It was different. It was harder, and I was more exhausted. And, I can't even remember. I think I probably nursed, and Gigi used to bite me.
Yeah. Gosh, I remember that, because she got teeth when she was like 3 months old. That
2.5 months, her teeth came in.
Yeah.
And they never stopped. It wasn't like she just got 2 teeth or 1 tooth and then that was it. No, she got a mouthful. She had a grill of teeth before she was even 1.
Yeah. My boys, they did not get a single tooth until after they were 1. So I was good on nursing.
Man. Danny was a little bit more normal in getting her teeth in. But I just was so tired. And I mean, I basically did a half and half bottle, of milk and formula after maybe the first six months or 8 months or something. And then, by close to her first year birthday, I was like completely done.
Yeah. Which is fine. But I know a lot of people feel like guilt, or they feel ashamed, they feel judged, they feel so much about that.
Yes.
And it was like, nursing was very, very important to me. And to be quite honest, I'm not quite sure why. Like, I don't know why it was such a big deal to me. I really loved it. It was something that I loved doing. The reason I stopped nursing with Hayden was I got pregnant. And I started to miscarry, and the doctor told me, you need to stop nursing. Like, you have to stop nursing. And so I did. I didn't want to. I cried about it, and I was so upset. after the fact, it probably ended up working out better that way just because of the emotions that you go through with the miscarriage. But I absolutely loved it. Like, I went beyond a year with Jackson because I just loved it, it was, I think, and I don't know, maybe it's because I'm not a great housemaker. I don't do all of these great things to keep our house up or to take care of our family. And that's the one thing that I could do,
right?
So I don't know if it was that or what it was.
That could be. And I think that has a lot to do with it too. I think for me, my personality is I know the millions of things that need to be done, right, in the house. The bathrooms need to be cleaned. Dinner needs to be made. Laundry needs to be folded. Laundry needs to be washed. I've got this and this and this and this, and I've got doctor's appointments, and I've got this that need to be done. And my mind was like so overwhelmed, and to sit there on the couch and nurse was really hard for me. Some moments, obviously, there are those moments that I had that I think like you're saying you had, where it's like, I mean, there's no like that bond, right?
Yeah.
Like it's a very special bond that you have with your children when you can sit there with them and you are able to do that. But I think that you have to do what's right for you, and you have to know your limitations.
Yes.
And it's okay to not nurse.
Yeah.
Whether it's the fact that you just can't supply the milk supply isn't there.
Right.
Or that you like it's not physically or mentally where you need to be, you know?
Exactly.
And
because sometimes it ends up being, there could be things going on with you where, maybe psychologically you need to do other things for yourself.
Yeah.
Because to get through those first, months, sometimes you need to do other things. Like when I had Jackson, I think I had postpartum. My psychologist, they didn't prescribe medicine, so I think they were a psychologist, thought that it was just my anxiety, like really, really like high level bad. But I called his doctor and I said, is it okay if I get back on my medication? And she said, I would rather you stop nursing him than be on the medication and nurse him. So it was like, it's one of those things where, if that's the option for me, I was able to, okay, I just need to chill out. I'm going to therapy, like whatever, get through it that way. I was able to do it. That's not always the case. I mean, there have been times in my life where getting by without medication is not something I could do, So it's like, if you have those situations where it's not possible, like you said, you're not producing, or mentally you can't, physically, I mean, it is exhausting to produce food for another person on top of produce energy for yourself, it is a lot. Yeah. So sometimes that's just not an option. And
especially
it's okay.
when you have other little ones.
Exactly.
Like when you have multiple kids.
Yes. And it is okay. I mean, whatever you have to do for you and your family is okay. Yeah. You're doing the best that you can, and you're making the best decision for you and your family.
Yeah.
And whatever it is, that's okay. And it's nobody else's business. It's not for anybody else to judge. It's not for anybody else to say you're doing something wrong or you should have done something, because the way you do it is the way that it should be done.
Right.
In my opinion.
No, it's true. I mean, we were just having this conversation this week with one of our friends about who's about to deliver. And it's like, she's about to have her baby, and she's like coming up to her due date. She's never carried this long. This is not her first baby.
Right.
And it's like, do I schedule, my doctor's saying schedule, induction. And, the pressure of, do I just let my body go natural or do I not? And at what point is it a risk? And I mean, there's all of these things, but it's like, you have to make the decision that's right for you and your baby and your family. And that's it.
Because what's right for person A is not always right for person B.
No. And some people say, I didn't take anything. I had him all natural. And What do I say? It's all fucking natural. Okay.
When a baby's coming out, whether they're being taken out of your stomach or coming out of your vagina, the baby's coming out and it's natural.
It's fucking natural. Yeah. You've got another human coming out of your body.
Yeah.
I don't care if it comes out of your nostril. Okay. It's all pretty fucking natural what's happening right now.
Yeah.
You know? So don't put those pressures on yourself and I will say as women, we have to be conscious of like when we speak
to others
that it's like your journey may not be the journey of someone else. And that's that you got to understand that that's okay.
And it is so good to express that to people, you know, like, well, this is what I did, but everybody's different. Like, it's good to say, to let someone know that what I do is it's not the right way. No. It's just the way I did it. Right. There are so many different ways. So many different paths get you to the end point. And whichever path you have to take.
And the most important is that you and baby are healthy and happy. Yeah. That's it.
However you do it. And they're going to be like, if you feel like, well, I need to do this because they can't be on formula, they're going to be okay.
They're going to be okay.
So many dang babies are on formula. Yeah. They're perfectly fine.
Does anyone know I was a formula or breastfed baby? No. You don't walk around with a name badge that says I was fed formula. Yeah. Or they're looking at me going, oh.
You were a titty sucker.
Yeah.
Yeah, you look like a big old titty sucker.
I was going to say like, they're not going to say like, oh, you know, you're sickly, so you must have been a formula baby. Right. You know, I mean, nobody knows that. Yeah. And it's the same thing, like I say, about when you go into labor, like you don't get a badge of honor if you deliver without any drugs.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. If you don't get an epidural, it's not like there's a special badge that you get to wear for the rest of your life.
We don't get a prize.
No. You delivered
probably
your baby.
More painful, but you don't get a prize.
Yeah. And so it's okay. Don't feel that you have to. And I mean, I remember feeling that with my kids.
I'm sure.
Of like, you know, well, you're strong. You don't need to. And every birth is so different. All three, I would say Georgia and Tristan were the most similar, you know, in deliveries. Danny was totally different. You know,
should have known.
I should have known.
Should have just shoved her back up in there.
Yes, that was the key. But you know, we put this pressure on ourselves, and I think that without meaning to, sometimes when we vocalize it, we put it out into the universe. And and I will just say, like, if no one else tells you this, and you're thinking about this, or you're about to go through this, or whatever, just remember, like, your journey is your journey, and it's okay to make the decisions that are right for you and your family.
Nobody's going to have the same journey regardless. No. You could both do natural, no drugs, no nothing, and you will both have completely separate experiences and everything's going to be different. Yeah. Nobody is the same. Even birth to birth, it's not the same.
No.
You know, so there's no sense in, and I know it's hard because, you know, pressure's pressure, and we do deal with it a lot, but there's no sense in putting pressure on yourself. Like, I feel like just give it up, give it all up. Just give it all up, because there's nothing, you can't control it. I mean, I went into labor with Hayden. I was in labor for a very long time, ended up having a C-section. There's nothing, he was stuck in my hip. There was nothing I could have done to have him any other way.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to do it. So whether I had walked for another 2 days or whatever I decided to do, that he wasn't coming out any other way.
Yeah, so, it didn't matter if you gave birth in a bathtub.
Yeah,
or
they would have shipped me off in an ambulance to the hospital because the kid wasn't going to come out.
Right.
You know, so it's like, it really doesn't matter, because some things are just beyond your control, and some of the things that you can control, it's okay. You do what is right for you. Yeah. What's right for you, what's right for your baby. And a lot of times what's right for you is what's right for your baby, because it's going to keep you the most sane.
Absolutely.
And make you feel the most comfortable. And that's when your babies are going to be the best, when you're sane, when you're comfortable.
And that's a thing that I think, and that plays into you, and even in your relationship and in your marriage, or your relationship with your significant other, is keeping yourself as a mom, especially a new mom, good mental health, because we do I'm doing okay. Like I'm feeling, your body is feeling okay and you're going through the motions and stuff. But sometimes like the mental part, and it's okay to take a step back and like,
especially because you're so tired.
Oh my gosh.
Like I look back and I'm like, I don't understand, because I'm not a person that functions with little sleep. And I don't know. I look back and I remember the fog I was in.
Yeah.
And I don't understand how I was able to function and really live through it.
Yeah.
So you really be nice to yourself.
Be nice to yourself.
Yes. Stop judging yourself. Mm-hmm. Give two shits if someone else judges you.
Yeah.
Because just be nice to yourself. You're doing a good job.
Yeah.
You're doing great.
It's okay.
You made a person.
You made a person. Yeah. You're surviving. They're surviving.
Yeah. If your kid's breathing at the end of the day, you're like, you've done a dang good job.
And when you have multiples and it's not even your first, you've got kids. If you've got kids running around, and this is like what I always think of, like, it doesn't matter if they survive off of goldfish crackers because you've been nursing all day and you can barely hold it together until your husband comes home. Who cares? They survived, right? Yeah. Like they survived.
They'll survive a day or two on goldfish. It's fine.
It's fine.
If they're getting something.
Yeah. Give them a pouch. I don't know.
Whatever. Sometimes there are those days, and that's okay.
It's okay.
Don't be hard on yourself because of it.
And we're so hard on ourselves.
Yeah. We are way harder on ourselves than anyone else is. Yes. You might think like, oh my goodness, they're judging me because of this.
Yeah.
But you're judging yourself so much more than anyone else will. And who cares? Who cares what they think?
And take a time out, and take a time out for you, and take a time out with you and your husband. And you
have to have that.
It's really hard. And if you don't have the support from relatives and close friends or something, I understand it's really hard, but you have to like learn to relinquish sometimes. Mm-hmm. And as mothers and as women, hard. Period, I think we don't do that.
Right.
And we want to hold it all in. And I'm one of those, like, I can keep going. Just keep piling it on me. Right. Yeah. Just keep piling it. I'm strong. I got this. I can carry everyone. I can carry me and everyone else. Right.
Yeah.
And you keep piling and you keep piling. And if that's the way you are, that's okay. But you need to take a time out sometimes.
At some point you have to.
You have to. And
if you want to be able to keep going, you need to take a break.
And you need to take a time out for you, and you need to take a time out with you and your spouse.
Yes.
Because it's a lot for them too.
Yeah, it is. It is a lot. And it's so important that you and your partner have, like, you still have to have each other, because eventually, I know people hear this all the time, eventually those kids are going to move out.
Yes.
And they're going to leave. And that's why it's so important that you are, one, good with your person that you're with before you have kids. You need to know that you're good being alone with that person long term, not just like, we can spend a few days. Like, we can spend a whole vacation together, not driving ourselves crazy.
It's true. You know, it's interesting. I always would say that I put my kids first, right? I would always say that I put my kids first. I put my kids first before my husband. And yes, I do, in the sense of like, my
taking
kids,
care of them.
Yes. My kids' needs are more, they're more.
He can feed himself.
He can take care of himself. My kids can't, not yet. But I look at it now and think, I understand when they say though, like, your kids leave you one day. One day your kids are going to get up and they're going to move on. And I mean, you hope, right? If you do your job good and they learn and they make the right decisions, because you can only do so much, and they got to make the right decisions. And you hope that they take off one day and they figure life out, whatever that journey may be. But your husband is your person.
Right.
So you got to make sure that you love that person before kids, after during kids.
Yeah. Yeah. It is so important. And I'm sure we'll have a podcast about it, because it will have to happen. But it is so in that relationship between you and your partner is so important. And a lot of times kids coming in the mix can overshadow it. And at first it doesn't seem like anything because you understand because your kids are little and you have this baby and you have so much love, like this person is made from you and your spouse or partner or whatever. And so you just love them and there's so much love, but it's easy to get lost and you can't do it because there's no way to last if you get lost.
Yeah.
You can't stay lost forever.
Right.
Because once the kids are gone, you're done.
Yeah.
There's no way to do it.
Yeah. You don't want to look at the other person and go, who are you?
Yeah, like who are you?
About you?
I don't know because over the last 18 years, I've just been raising these children and I've not been paying any attention to you.
Right.
So do I even still like you? I don't know.
Right.
You know, so you can't get lost in it. And it's so important that you make that time.
Yeah.
It really is.
Well, we are already out of time.
Yes.
I know that
I could tell.
Yeah. That went quick. But I want to keep talking about this and kind of go into a few more more segments on it and talk about toddlers as well, because you have the baby aspect, which is the loss of sleep.
Yes. And the beginning, getting your footing and all of that.
Yes.
But then there's the long term.
Yeah.
I'm really maybe going crazy now because I've been sleep deprived for a long time and they're crazy now.
Yeah. And they're getting out of their bed and they're playing with their shit. So
there's that. All right. Well, thank you so much, you guys. If you wouldn't mind, if you've not already, if you could rate our podcast, we would really, really appreciate it. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter at RealAshMP. And keep an eye out for some of our fun videos. We're about to do a TikTok here in a minute. So
the things you make me do.
I know. I'm always like, I'm up for it. If P'll do it, I'm up for it. So, and she's pretty good about it. I'm up for it because I always look like a clown. Really?
Well, okay. I'm gonna be the one that's gonna catch you in something though. I feel like I'm
a lot bigger than you.
I don't.
Okay, we'll do one thing where you catch me, but for the most part, I need to be like the base. Like, you know, in cheer, there's the base girls. Those are the bigger, like beefier.
You're stupid,
I'm a base. I'm a base. So thanks so much, you guys, for tuning in. Have a great week.
Thanks for swapping with us. Segment music by Callie Grace. For more of Callie Grace's hits, follow Callie Grace on iTunes and Spotify today.